Yes, a little substitute today on our stage, Aram from PicsArt, who will tell a story how to expand from consumer into enterprise with APIs. Of course, APIs were developers after all. So, Aram, applause, please take this stage. It's yours. And our routine sound check, please say something.
Hello, hello.
Perfect.
Hi,
the stage is yours. Please set a topic for us to discuss after your talk. You're welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone, good morning. I'm happy to be here and thanks for attending this short talk. It's a little bit business, not into much details of the technology, but yeah, it's the part of PicsArt. I'm Aram, the Vice President of Product and Technology, and I'm running the APIs business. And PicsArt is mostly known for the consumer application we are doing photo and video editing, and I'm really interested, like, how many people from here knows what PicsArt is. Can please raise hand? Yeah, most of you. That's good. Yeah. Earlier this year, we launched PicsArt for developers, and I would like to show a short video that tells about what we are doing right now.
If print platforms, e-commerce, or merch is a part of your business, your customers are demanding easy-to-use creative capabilities more than ever. Meet PicsArt for developers. PicsArt has made complex photo editing and design easy for more than 150 million monthly active creators. And now, we're making that AI-powered tech available to your company as APIs and SDKs. There's no need to build from scratch when you can unlock any of our APIs with a few lines of code. Upscale images, remove backgrounds, add filters, or unleash the full editing experience for your customers with the PicsArt SDK. PicsArt empowers creators everywhere. Now you can too. PicsArt for developers.
Good. A short intro of what I'm going to present today. It's how PicsArt started and how we grew into what PicsArt is known for right now. I'll tell a little bit about the monolith to microservice transformation and what learnings we had and how that basically unlocked this opportunity to run the PicsArt for developers. It all started in 2011 when our founder, Hovhannes, was trying to help his daughter to continue her creativity and be part of a wider and more supportive art community. This was the beginning of PicsArt. It well coincided with the rise of social media. And there was a huge hunger for content on social platforms. It was a good match and timing, and it helped PicsArt to become the dominant platform. And it's now the power for visual communication. Today, thanks to Gen Z and millennials that discover PicsArt in the beginning of the journey of their social life, we gained more than 150 million strong community of users. We are already several years, we are within the top 20 downloaded apps in the world. And what is more relevant to this audience, of course, is we are running every month more than 1.5 petabyte traffic worldwide, and we are serving more than 40 billion requests. And of course, this rapid growth over the recent years brought us to a big list of challenges. We had to go in parallel to the user growth. They have been asking for more features. We have been adding new features every month, every week, literally doing releases every week. That would include filters, editing tools, AI-powered technology. And of course, it was leading to a certain level of challenges. And it was showing, indicating that we need to consider a new type of architecture. Another challenge that we faced is that we started with Node.js. It was in the very beginning. And yeah, as the monolith grew, it became a challenge that one technology and one language is a limitation for us. And then as we started doing ML and AI, even though we are able to run it on mobile as well, offline, nevertheless, some models are so huge that can never be run on mobile, right? So we had to deploy on cloud. And yeah, again, another signal that is signing architecture should change. Another sign is that certain businesses have been approaching to PicsArt and asking for creative technology. And how do we make that available if we have a huge monolith, for instance? It's very not scalable. I mean, and you can't open up your backend that is created for the mobile app and say, okay, you use it for any other platform. So all these signaled we should make a change. Oops. Yeah. One of the first steps that we took in that direction is that we tried to standardize. Even though we started with Node.js, we tried to expand the stack of technology. We standardized with Java and Python. And here you should be kind of careful. You want to add more technology so you're more flexible. At the same time, you don't want to add too many new things. Like not a flexibility that allows to use a new technology or a new language every week or every month. And fixing what you are going with is very important. This enables the flexibility. So when dropping the monolith, you can write every microservice in a new technology. And as well as it standardizes. So when you know you have 3 technology, you can move people around according to your priorities. And when you know that the technology is the same across different teams, it is very easy to do. And as you add new languages, you are also opening to new talent pool, basically, not only limited to Node.js, for instance. Another thing that we needed to consider is recent years with pandemic. We have been working remotely most of the time. Now we are remote friendly. So we need to take certain considerations, like what types of processes should be adopted so that the teams working in different geolocations are working efficiently and the collaboration is at the good level. In order to split the monolith, we needed to quickly react to the organization structure as well. We had to split teams so that they can become more independent. They can make quick decisions, react quickly, make quick releases, be more agile, and be more flexible. One other point to take into account is that previously we would rely on tools like Grafana, Prometheus, and other free software. Now we are transitioning more to package modern tools, alternatives that are available on cloud and available as a SaaS, for instance. As well as we are considering event-driven architecture to increase the reliability of the system. Okay, some other aspects. Of course, one thing is teamwork, process, and stuff. Another thing, what actual work you gotta do. First of all, you need to identify what is your domain. You analyze your monolith and create this dependency map of different services. You should well consider every little detail and understand how you group the domains as well. And it is important to visualize and have it in front of you so you know what is your North Star. You can't create everything at the same time in parallel, but you should plan it carefully, and this visual diagram is helping with that. Okay, now, if you have run into this problem that you should split the monolith into microservices, the directly implies that there will be quite many number of very big list of microservices, right? Where do you start? Of course, you need a framework for prioritization. One of the easiest frameworks we can work with is this is and benefit map. You are creating this 2x2 chart, trying to explain where every specific domain lies in. Some alternatives to this are also well known, such as impact and urgency. One other thing described in Dwelling with Darwin is the core context map, which is more about unique offering and what everyone else offers. You can use whatever method you prefer, but the least you should do is identify what is more important. And you should also take into account with the split. And where core context, for instance, is more efficient is with core context map, you're able to identify if there are services that are not your core business. It is not your main thing and main offering. You can delegate it. You can get a vendor. I mean, why should you rewrite it even? Especially that you are scaling. It's more efficient most of the times. Well, you are also considering the number of upstream and downstream dependencies, how easy it is to move the code. So if the time to market is too high, maybe you shouldn't consider it, especially if it's not going to change that frequently. There are some services like that. So you add the flexibility to those that you will be releasing every week. At the same time, you don't touch those that will not change for a year. Well, getting to actually how you do the things and how you make sure that your environment doesn't break up. You should make sure that it is all running all the time, because you have to deal with over 100 million users every month, 20 million users every day. It's a tough job. So how we handled it? We created an abstraction layer on top of the main code inside the monolith, which is able to kind of reroute some of the traffic. And then we are building some alternative ways to switch to the new one. For instance, we are usually using a feature flag, like saying for which type of audience we want to open up this new solution. And then we start to roll out, like 5%, 10%, gradually learning what types of issues we have in the new code. As we copy-pasted some of it, as we rewrote some of it, we can verify that it is stable and it doesn't break the overall system, end-to-end experience. As we roll out everything and maybe see a couple of months that it is working, it is stable and reliable, it is time to consider removing, to completely remove it. So, what we did to summarize for monolith to microservice transformation. First of all, you should look for the signals. Do you even need to take that path? You need to evaluate the current state, like how bad it is, like how urgent it is, how business critical it is. And then you do incremental migration from monolith to microservices. Along the way, you standardize on the technology, where you develop certain things so it's efficient, and the processes. Maybe change the organizational structure so you have smaller teams that correspond or are owning specific scopes. And you also consider some package tools. What did it give to PicsArt? First of all, we decoupled everything, most of it I would say, and it led to autonomy. It increased the velocity to release services drastically. On technology level, it also allows us to deploy in almost any location using Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes, and we have the flexibility to use GCP, AWS, and we have also our own private cloud. From the business side, it led to the possibility to consider new revenue sources, like PicsArt for developers. We created microservices for certain tools, for certain technology, and we deployed it on a new cluster, and we are shipping that to our customers. That easy. I mean, as soon as you do the beginning, which was the hardest, I think, it's much, much easier to consider this opportunity. This is bringing us to a new business unit, monetizing online our APIs and SDKs. And this is also allowing us to build a circular business model. Like previously we had a consumer, we are transitioning to enterprises that are serving to consumers, B2B, 2C. Why is it like so easy to do for us? And I believe it applies to many companies here. Again, back to the core and context. Every business is good at something. The main offering is usually something like one thing, like, you know, the elevator pitch is about one offering. Everything is just one good value proposition. That is your core. What is context? Is creative technology. Not every company has the tools, knowledge, background, even like the money to create the same technology that PicsArt created over 10 years. So we are taking that context, which is our core, and we are offering that. This is how it works, and it can work for everyone. We have the expertise in creative tools. We are the best-in-class solution for creative photo and video editing. We have the cutting-edge proprietary image and video editing technology. We have proprietary ML AI to bring the solutions to the whole new level. And we are publishing this technology via APIs and SDKs. Okay, except for taking the ready solutions like that are already published somewhere in our infrastructure and serving our mobile app and selling that, what else it takes to actually make it successful? It's, of course, like I mentioned, technology. Then we are sticking to our vision. That is the most important thing. Our mission is to serve and make everyone creative on every platform. We are distributing our creative technology for that purpose. And it shouldn't happen necessarily on PicsArt. It can happen on your business, on your website, on your mobile application by integrating our solution. You should, and you gotta create very good documentation, which is easy to consume. Our goal here is like making that or unlocking developers to get the first integration within 3 minutes. And we are trying to actually verify that assumption below. We have the code challenge running these 2 days, and we try to understand why does it take much longer than we anticipated. Thanks for all the participants, where we got quite good learnings from there. Except for that, you gotta create a new gateway solution, which maybe is a little bit different to your main business. In PicsArt, we are not counting how many times we are serving to a specific user. It's a subscription model. You can remove backgrounds as many times as you want if you are paying for gold. But when it comes to API, you should count like the rate limit. Like, did that specific developer pay for every user or not? That's all important, and Gateway is the solution to that. You should make sure you have an enterprise-grade security. And this is all published through developer portal. What we got now? Remove and replace background, upscaling technology, texture generation, style transfer, filters, vectorization, and video APIs that are now beta. Also, we combine all those technology in an offline experience that is an SDK, web editor SDK, that you can embed in your website and get a photo and video editing out of the box. It automatically connects to these all listed APIs, so you don't have to worry. And you don't code except for like adding maybe 9 lines of code. And at last, to wrap up, I want to mention again that we have announced recently the developer fund. It allows up to $1,000 developer credit, and it's for free. If you see any possibility to get this integration for your business and amplify it somehow with our creative technology, you can scan this. I will leave this for a couple of seconds, so if you want, you can scan. If not, you can also approach to PicsArt booth and yeah, apply for it. That's all. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm free for questions.
Yeah, I will snatch my second microphone. It's quite interesting, by the way, how do you promote APIs? Because with some creative solution, like that can modify your photo or create something fun for social networks, you can naturally use social networks. Like you take an influencer, somehow persuade them to use the product, influencer they showcases, and everyone like, wow, we want to try it. But with software developers, such scheme, it is not clicks a lot, because there are not a lot of software developer influencers, and they rarely showcase like APIs. So the first question will be from me. What strategies do you use to promote your APIs with developers?
Yeah, thanks. Very good question. Yeah, it's definitely very easy with consumers. I mean, we are top 20 for many months now, and we don't have to spend a lot to get promoted there. But with developers, totally, it's a different approach, not only with developers, but also with enterprises. There are many decision makers at C-level, VP level that don't even know this is possible. So how you get there? Of course, consumer business is helping a lot. So if PicsArt is known, it is known almost everywhere. We are hearing almost every day that someone is telling, okay, I went to school, I was bringing my kid, maybe even like to kindergarten, and kids are discussing, oh, you work in PicsArt. This is creating really good connections. I mean, this is just one very simple life case. Another thing is like, as PicsArt gets known, those people also approach, like inbound is working a lot, inbound lead generation, and of course SEO is the thing. Developers usually go, like myself as an engineer, the first thing usually I do is I type the search term, the prompt in Google, right? So if you get something in the first 5 links, maybe, if you get there, then you are successful. So this is one of the things we are using, where we spend literally no money at all.
Got it. Do we have any questions? Okay, perfect. We also have a special gift to the author of the best questions, and you will need to remember which question is the best, and after your talk, we will do the gifting. Will you remember?
Sounds great. Yep, I will.
Okay, perfect. So, please, first question. Got it.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. What I would like to listen from you is that how much did it cost you to move from a monolithic application to your microservices in means of time, in means of money, and also what do you think, how much did you lose actually by not starting with microservices, if that was an option at the time? Thank you.
Well, it's very hard to tell, actually. I can't answer like precisely, but what I can tell, which is not monetary, is the time. like we couldn't definitely release most of the things at some point, and we needed to split everything so we get more independent blocks. That was the measurable thing, I would say, like things that could take maybe months to engineer and give to production. At API, we are able to give to production maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks at max. That is the main gain, but the rest, it's very hard to calculate actually.
Hi, I'm Arthur from QuestRaid Armenia. Could you please describe how do you organize testing for all these microservices, like functionality, integration, and overall? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We're doing at several levels, of course. First thing that is happening is the unit testing. So every microservice has to be unit tested, and at least we are trying to keep it at high level, like 80%, for instance. That's the first level. Second thing is that the team itself is kind of responsible to create a good quality service. So developers are participating in it, as well as we have QAs attached to every team. All our teams are like fully equipped with developers, like PMs, designers if needed, etc. It not always applies to microservice development, but if needed, we are also adding that one. So QAs are there, and we have an automation team that is also automating all the services. This is one level, and then we are doing several like stages of integration test with application. We are doing like a development, then regression, then stabilization on production. We are also doing this thing that I mentioned, feature flags. So not everyone is getting access to the new service because you never know until it gets to production. You enable on a specific segment, like you're saying, okay, maybe in Thailand you have some number of users and it's not the biggest community for your platform, but still you can test it because you are not getting too much revenue from there. So even if something breaks, for instance, you are not losing too much money. You test on those markets where you have more flexibility. You roll out gradually. Along the way, you are also finding bugs. Users are reporting. You usually integrate also some tools such as Datadog or a couple of others that are reporting bugs from production. Some crashes are happening. Sometimes services go down, so you have to completely switch off the service for time being. And as you get to 100%, you get like real good confidence that this is already stable. But other than that, again, this is kind of golden rule. Unless it gets to production, you never know what can go wrong, right?
Please, next question.
Thank you.
I would like to know how, while exposing the APIs to the developer community and to enterprise, how do you organize the release management, and as well as how do you handle the change management on the contract level, etc.? Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. The easiest thing in this particular case was that we're doing very small incremental releases. So we're not like waiting for 3 months to make a release. We would like ship everything almost every day if we need to. So the impact would be very minimal. Also, we are just kicking off. It's not like we have thousands of different enterprises currently using, so it's relatively safe right now. We are more flexible. But in general, the golden rule is like backward compatibility. So if a major change is to be done, we have an internal agreement that it should change the version code and it should be deployed on a new endpoint, for instance. Like you usually see those V1, V2s on every API that is offered on the market. The same thing is going to happen with PicsArt. So yeah, we don't have breaking changes. And on contract level, we are in constant contact with our partners. Basically, we're not saying even like customers, they are our partners, early adopters. And yeah, every change we are planning, we are also communicating beforehand. That's also very important because in some cases they may need to be aware. One other best practice I can suggest is like a status page, which usually shows your up, down, you have a maintained maintenance, planned maintenance and something like that. That is also a good practice to apply.
Next question, please.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. My question is related to the microservices having some data that's maybe common or someone needs to use the data from the other one. So how do you organize the references? Do you directly have HTTP calls to your microservices to fetch the data, or you keep some weak references? And also, how do you synchronize this data if that's needed?
Yeah, I think we can speak afterwards as well. There is a colleague here, Shine is here, he can tell more details about it, but my recommendation is more on completely isolating the service together with the database. So if you start giving access to the database, you never know how it's going to change, and it's not always safe. So I would say give access only through APIs and not to the database. Don't keep those weak references or whatsoever. That's more secure. But yeah, I think Shine can consult much better for that one. Thank you.
Ras. Okay, thank you for great presentation. I have one more question about splitting monolith to microservices. And my question is about your domain area and domains. I think when domains are clear and you have clear bounded contexts, okay, to do splitting, it's some kind of technical stuff. So my question is, did you have any troubles with your domains? How did you determine them? Who was the driver on company level for this process? And maybe some other interesting facts about determining of domain area.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's a well-known challenge. I won't say PicsArt has done anything special. There is this well-known thing such as architecture is the reflection of your org structure or the opposite. So even in my presentation, I was saying you have to split the teams, and then you have to split the microservices, and those two should match each other. So depends on whichever you prefer. Do you want to start with org change? So you say, what is your business? What is your business domain, how it's structured, and then you try to organize the rest accordingly, or you do the rest. I mean, saying, okay, I want to separate this business critical element as a microservice, and you assign it to a team. Gradually, if you are doing this step by step, you will end up in a good structure. But if you say, you should give or have a really good answer from the very beginning, that will be very hard to do. You should apply iterative approach. I mean, you can't do everything at once correctly.
Yeah, thanks for the answer. Do you have cases when you have, several teams responsible for domain area for some kind of big...
Oh yeah, a lot, everything.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Hi. Thanks for a great presentation. Some of my question has already covered, but I have one. Which technology and services you use for microservices to touch each other, to talk each other?
I think it's more HTTP API, RESTful type of approach. We are trying to touch a little bit of GraphQL in some places where the content filtering and fetching should happen. We have search services, and we are relying on that heavily. But the rest is mostly JSON type of response, and the RESTful, that is a standard, I would say, for communication.
Thank you. So, do we have any other question? Let me see.
Yep, on that side.
You're welcome.
Hello, Maxim, Wirestock, Armenia. It seems like you use many ML parts for your service. How do you process increasing load to your services? It may be you use Kubernetes for it and ML inside Kubernetes. But usually ML containers start very long time. How do you use it?
Oh yeah, you should plan it like carefully, of course. I think we have services that start in 10 minutes or something like that, so you should pre-plan. That's why we are always in touch with our customers. We are pre-checking which are their like peak hours, when they are expecting more traffic, when there is like some marketing campaign to happen. We are increasing the number of servers before that event actually is happening. At our scale, where we don't have on API business, I mean, we don't have that many users yet. The cluster scale is kind of small, and the scaling will be kind of with these stages, you know, like there's a bump, you are waiting for 10 minutes, and then 10 servers are brought up at the same time, and maybe 50% of that won't be used. It's a challenge, but for PicsArt, because the scale is very high, we are not even feeling that bump, you know. The servers are going up and down all the time, and it's very smooth at that scale. So the bigger you grow, the smoother it becomes. I hope I answered. Thanks.
More questions, please. We have some time budgets, so you're welcome.
Hi, my name is Vaya. Thank you for a great talk. So we have these APIs offered as a product or service and built in some fashion. And you have teams inside the company building the functionality behind them.
Mm-hmm.
My question is there a driver strategy in PicsArt that teams should also use the same customer-facing APIs internally?
I think we are leading that naturally. We are not discussing that specifically, but everyone expects. So you minimize your efforts, you make the work efficient. The more you standardize, the better for you. Like on languages, on those formats of response, we usually don't change it. And if you even check what type of requests go out of application and what is going to the API, it's nearly the same, if not exactly the same, you know.
Thank you.
So I think that concludes our in-hall Q&A section, and of course the speaker will be available for you in private in our discussion section. And now the most challenging part of this talk. Please choose the best question.
Yeah,
Which one?
Yeah, it's very easy for me. I mean, the most interesting discussion personally is the database one, actually.
So, who has asked the database question? Which one?
There, I guess. Yeah. How you separate the databases? Yes.
Please come to the stage, and we have this prize. Can you gift it to our audience member? Applause, please, to our speaker and the person who asked the best question.
Thank you.
Thank you.